wherever Erica and Lori go, accusations of financial fraud tend to follow, right? Throwing it back to the Erpenbeck brothers, Uncle Rick Erpenbeck, that brand new glossy Tesseract school, ultimately a charter scam in which money inexplicably vanished, just evaporated into thin air. The school went bankrupt, and that's where Erica went for elementary school. So it's like literally Ohio, and then she goes to Arizona, and it's got these financial things kind of just surrounding them. And then we happened upon some interesting information. We learned that Tesseract afterward became Notre Dame Prep. And I was like, well, how? Well, it turns out, and I was asking, like, how did the Catholics get involved with that? Tesseract school was definitely a very Jewish school in general. Well, it makes sense because I guess in this story, because Erica can be at various times Catholic, evangelical, or Jewish. It just depends on the audience that she's trying to get a check from. But there, we have seen there is a current of Catholicism that is floating in this story. Obviously, as I told you, the church that Charlie was attending, the priest that she takes with her everywhere, despite denying that she's Catholic or whatever. She took him with her to Utah when Charlie died. Well, the story goes regarding Tesseract that after they filed for bankruptcy in 2001, they put their old campus up for sale, and it was purchased by the Diocese of Phoenix when they then turned it into Notre Dame Prep, where Erica then enrolls for high school. Now, this decision and the process was overseen by Bishop Thomas J. O'Brien. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I want to learn more about this. And I should note that he was very significant in building up the Catholic community in Phoenix. I mean, under his leadership, which began in 1982, 15 additional parishes were founded, including the one that Erica is very close to today. But, not close enough to publicly acknowledge in front of the evangelical donors. That Charlie was evangelical, doesn't matter if he was going to mass every day. Go after Candace for telling the truth, because donors. Okay, weird. Anyway, he was the bishop until 2003 when he received the distinct honor of becoming the very first Catholic bishop in America to ever be charged with a felony. I was just like, how could this be possible? I'm just doing a little bit of research. How is everybody just going to be involved in scandals? We're wondering what he did. He killed somebody accidentally, he says. He was arrested for a hit and run in 2003 that killed Jim Lee Reed. But by a hit and run, I mean that he did not bother stopping or calling the police. He went home, had some dinner, had a sleep, went to his sister's house the following day. The police were able to capture him because of the very obvious damage that was done to his car, which included a cracked windshield. And when he was discovered, he said that, well, I didn't report the accident because I thought I hit a cat or a dog. For clarity, the person that he hit was 240 pounds and over 6 feet. So big cat or a big dog. Remarkably, Thomas O'Brien only got 4 years of probation for this. The Vatican, of course, then accepted his resignation. He staffs, though, the school that Erica then attends. And that, by the way, is not going to spell the end of his legal trouble, because then in 2002, this is Maricopa County, you guys. I'm going to just assume everything that happens in Maricopa County is problematic at this point. But in 2002, prosecutors initiated a grand jury investigation into charges of sexual abuse by Catholic priests, that were staffed by O'Brien. He became the target of the investigation for allegedly covering up the allegations of the priests who he had staffed. It's sounding a bit reminiscent of when we talked about Calvary Chapel and how they were kind of intentionally going around and finding these pastors and rehabilitating them and moving them around who had connections to sex abuse, right? Well, he doesn't want to go to prison again. He didn't go the first time, but he's worried, and in exchange for immunity, he just comes clean. He admits that several times during his 22-year tenure, he had placed children in harm's way by transferring priests who had been accused of abuse to his parishes, and that he did not inform the parishioners of doing that or his new superiors. So again, I will ask the question, what goes on in Maricopa County? It's obviously not anything good. Why does it seem to me that there happens to be so much corruption? Like it's just like an established colony of corruption. It is, I believe, factually the most corrupt county, and I'm talking about in politics in America. Who is driving that corruption? We get closer throughout this series. Anyway, I wanted to just pop that in and tell you that because it's just remarkable that the most basic fact checks, you're in Arizona, you land upon these things nonstop. Now we're going to jump right back into our Erica timeline because, boy, do I have something to share with you regarding 2018. Let's jump in where we left off. So in 2015, Erica is 27 years old, okay? It is entirely unclear what she is doing for work. And it's important to stress she's 27 years old. This is not 18, 19, just got out of the house, don't know what I'm doing. I'm just wondering, how is she affording to live? Okay, she's still dating JT Massey during this time. We also have that on July 11th, Lori Franzfay and Tyler Boyer and Erica are going to be behind Donald Trump for his presidential campaign rally. Now, you'll recall, this is when the story gets pretty fuzzy. Erica thinks that she met Tyler at that rally, but Tyler tells the story that she called him up before that rally and offered to help, so the details get murky. She can't remember how she met him, kind of thinking it was years earlier when her mother was doing deals with the Farnsworth family for EMPs and getting money again from the government for fear-mongering. There's going to be these EMP attacks. Anyway, in mid-August of that year, Erica goes to Canada. She travels to Montreal, through to Estrel, Quebec, again, not knowing how she is affording this lifestyle. She is traveling with Nicole Rothstein. We have that in November. Her mother establishes G-Tech Industries, LLC. You're going to say, what does it do? It's Lori, so it's like this. She's doing this whole EMP thing, and she's getting money, and she's saying this is the threat, and she's working with people that she knows, and she's going to get your tax dollars for doing that, and so that's what she's doing with G-Tech. We have then thereafter that Erica soft launches another charity that's called For the Cause in Phoenix, and yes, the cause is always going to be children. It has something to do with children at a hospital, but it never really gate. I mean, that's today. It says coming fall of 2015. It looks like it never did arrive, but she was associated with that project. That is all that we can find in terms of what Erica was doing for work in that year. We jump into 2016, and now you should know that Erica is 28. She's going to be 28 years old, and we still have no idea what she is doing for work. And now she's living in New York City, one of the most expensive cities in the world. So the question you should ask yourself is, how is she making money to afford this lifestyle? And I'm going to remind you that these are the years that the people at Next Model Management, remember that she was at Next Model Management, and she was in charge of the point person for the quote-unquote model apartments where they put the models that were coming from Eastern Europe, and that she was attached in particular to a building on the Upper East Side. So that would track if she was getting paid that way. Otherwise, I can't figure out what she's doing. On May 9th, she shares that she's location scouting in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. For what? It is unclear. In the past, she's made statements that she was a casting director. Casting directors are not the same as location scouts. So this is kind of the Jane of all trades thing that she is consistently selling. Later on in the future, she's going to claim that this is the year that she launched Bible in 365. On a future post, she says, in 2016, I started Bible in 365 in my New York City apartment. That is objectively untrue according to corporate filings, okay? That just did not happen, but she alleges that in a future post. This is also a year that her mother is just going to receive an honorary degree conferred upon her at a university I've never heard of, AATC University graduation program. That is Lori, not Erica. To be clear, the picture is a little blurry, but they just get things. They just get things handed out. and it's AATC, to be clear, stands for Advancing Achievers Technology and Cybersecurity University. In August, Lori will then go to Utah and attend an expo, Utah of all places, for G-Tech Industries. So she's kind of looking for people to buy into what looks to me to be a scam, okay? Protect yourself from an EMP attack. It's this constant fear-mongering that she's going to do. I've said my feelings about Lori Franz-Faye, so I will leave that alone. But that's what she is doing. And in August, we find Erica somewhere in the Mediterranean. I could not figure out where she was. My guess would be Croatia or Italy, based on the water that certainly is the Mediterranean Sea. Again, unclear how she's affording this lifestyle to be able to travel the world and do these sorts of things while living in New York City and not having a job that is apparent to us. Lori then releases an intent to sell G-Tech Industries to Saxon Capital Group. A little fun fact here, Saxon Capital Group is actually Lori. Lori is an 86% owner of Saxon Capital Group. They released this onto PR Newswire, and then it turns out that years later, Saxon Capital Group, with Lori as a minor partner, they're going to file for an IPO, and they're like, yeah, no, we actually never did that deal. So just a little bit more of like, you know, Lori trickery, like, oh, I'm selling my company, and then she doesn't actually sell it to them, according to them. In 2017, Erica is going to get busy, but once again, we're not going to really understand what she's actually doing, okay? She's doing everything and nothing at the same time, always. Reminding you, this is a 29-year-old woman. She's about to be 30. Okay, you can't just like not do something in life unless you're unspeakably wealthy. I guess that could be the lifestyle, but that's not the circumstance for Erica Kirk. On January 12th, she establishes the Elm Group LLC. Okay, no idea what this company does. Nothing makes sense in terms of what this company does. I could not figure out what this company does. If you know, please let me know. Maybe you've worked with the Elm Group. I'm going to go with Erica's kind of doing what her mom does and just creating a lot of LLCs. There's no description that is offered on those documents. On February 1st, as you guys may have seen, she then appears in this documentary that's called Black Start by Patria Patrick.
Yeah, I'll be back. See what happens. 9:30. So like in 30 minutes. Uh-oh. 9:39. I'm gonna be late. I'm probably gonna be late. That's what you said. It's 9 o'clock right now.
You know this ain't gonna get done now. It is, hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. Yeah, it's 9:39. That's what I said at 9:39. He said, yeah. Yeah, Tony B's back.
Huh. Yeah. We can't be late no more. We got to get out the house earlier.
Whatever, I'll call in. That way at least I get 4 instead of 3. 9:39, 6:39, 7:39, 8:39, 9:39. Still give me 3 hours.
All right. True. By the church. But I got 2 orders to do, and then I'm turning this thing off. So let me turn this thing off. And then I will come get you. Come get you. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. I got 2 right now. I got 2. I don't know. Nothing at this point. No, I ain't done either one of them. These are the first 2 I got. I just left church. Tammy and Dom were there. Say what? No, I'm in Marietta.
How long you get me though? That's what my thing is.
I would say it's probably going to be like 10 o'clock. Probably.
10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Now you got 2 to jump off today.
Well, it just depends on where they are when I get done. Where I get done with these things, right? Depends on where I am.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
All right,
what
well,
it comes down to.
I'll see you later.
I love you. And God bless you.
Love you too. God bless you.
Thank you. Peace.
I'll call you next time we walk out of here.
Okay, cool. Yeah, call me then.
All right, love you.
Love you too. God bless you. See you
God bless
soon.
you.
Peace. Congratulations. You get off early.
Yeah, God bless you. I'm gonna walk this stuff over here, and then I'm out of it. I'm almost time to be out of here, so don't do no work. You get that fast and too fast and top of the move.
Right.
I ain't gonna go fast. We're gonna slow. I gotta find something going slow. Alright. I love you, honey.
Love you. God bless you. See you in a little bit.
God bless you.
Peace. Bye. Oh, my bad. Got my brain other places now.
Features the CIA director James Woolsey. Now, I want to say this documentary is about EMP attacks, right? And how the government needs to prepare for them. So it's a bit more of her mother's propaganda, so to speak. And she is of this.
We have 5 major threats that make our grid extremely vulnerable that we've presented to congressional officials. 1 being cyber, 2 being hackers, 3 being physical threats, 4th one is solar EMP, and the 5th one is man-made EMP. So the concern that we have is that we put out this critical information, and when we go over this risk analysis, they hear what we're saying, but they don't want to take action.
When she says we, I don't know who she's speaking about. I don't know why she has the background to be featured in this documentary. You know, there are a lot of people online that were kind of trying to minimize this and be like, oh, well, it's not, the CIA is not involved in this. It's just the director is featured in the documentary. You can't just like bring up the CIA and ask them to be in your documentary. I want you to know that's not a thing. So think through the common sense there. If I want to do a documentary on EMPs, and I'm just a random girl that is like in pageant world, that's pretty much all she's accomplished at this point in her life, right? How am I getting the CIA involved in that? Like, there's obviously a connection there, and it just annoys me when people are constantly trying to offend us. Like we're just so stupid that, no, nothing to see here ever. That's just, the CIA director just normally does that. You just gotta hit him up. I'll call a 1-800 number and he'll be featured in your random documentary too. And again, what qualifies her for that, nobody knows. On July 24th, her mother then opens that mysterious LLC, Desert Spirit Tech LLC. That is the one that should not especially be ignored. Opening up tech in the middle of the, and I hope I'm saying this right, the Tohono Odom Reservation, Indian Reservation. Nothing good happens on Indian reservations that Americans get involved in, okay? It's basically, you can do whatever you want. No rules apply. People are trafficked. There's drugs trafficking. In fact, when she gets involved, I think they had just shut down. It passes to Mexico. They had the San Miguel Gate on the Tohono Reservation, which passed through to Mexico, and there's nothing the feds can do. Like, what is Lori doing with a Native American reservation? Can anybody tell me what tech she's doing, that she's involving herself there? Is she involved with casinos? Is Desert Spirit Tech casino stuff? I don't know. The fact that she has all of these LLCs and we don't know what she is, I would like to continue to stress, is exceedingly problematic, especially given her relationships with the government. Okay? I don't like this area. I don't like what goes on in Arizona, down by the border, and the people that Lori Franzwey involves herself with. This year, Erica is dating Cabot Phillips. By the way, I told you she has a boyfriend every single year. Cabot Phillips is her boyfriend. At this time, they're painting together. Cute, very cute. Yeah, anyway. And per her LinkedIn, she begins attending Liberty University for her master's degree. So you can see that there. Again, she's going to say she attends for 2 years. Obviously, it's online, her attendance. And she is randomly pictured at a celebrity dentist this year as well, Dr. V. And Dr. V says she's gorgeous and that she's going to be in the Ocean's 8 movie. That she got cast in there. Erica was not in the Ocean's 8 movie as far as I could see. She was not in the credits, but that is what this post says, and that is that. Just sharing that with you. Again, we reflect on that year, and we have no idea what the heck Erica Kirk does for a living. Okay? What is she doing for a living? Who's paying her? How is she getting paid? What is she doing? The only clue that we have is that she's involved with Next Model Management. Perhaps managing apartments for Eastern European models. And I'm not entirely sure what qualifies her to do that even. Again, we went out and did not get an answer for that. 2018, we have got to talk about. I actually had to calm down after learning this because it's... Okay, I'm gonna calm down again. 2018 begins with Erica ringing in the new year with Cabot Phillips, her boyfriend, and Lori are going to ring in the new year together. So they aren't, it's just stunning when you just consider her saying she never dated while she was in New York. It's like, you mean, somebody I think made actually the joke, like she never dated, somebody who wasn't famous or somebody who didn't have a platform. Like she wasn't dating nobodies, you know what I mean? Which I thought was hilarious. Anyway, I wanted to put this into the timeline, that it's on April 7th that Charlie predicts his own death and says that he knows that it is going to be associated with Turning Point USA. I just find that point to be very interesting. He says, if I tell you the true prophecy, I know in my gut it's really sad. I hope it's wrong. He goes on to say, I'm not sure I will live to see the end of this revolution. I believe you were the peace that God meant for me to meet. That will finish the fight. Since the beginning of TPUSA, I knew in my gut that I might get wiped out at any time. I cannot explain it, but I dream about it all. Anyway, that's depressing combo for another time. And then he says, I'm not really afraid of it, but I'm just telling you what I know to be true. There's something sobering to me when I look at that on the timeline and realize that he messages that to me on April 7th, 2018. And then so much happens. I told you, I said to you that there was something about Kanye's tweet that sort of ripped a hole in reality, and I felt like agents were suddenly sent to us. That was me just explaining to you how I felt things changed. A lot of fake people started surrounding us. They were trying to artificially pull us apart. It is then just a couple of weeks later after his death that Kanye tweets, I love the way Candace Owens thinks, which, like I said, you had to be there because we were just kind of rapping, and I kept telling him that he was gonna, Kanye was gonna come over. I'm telling you, I think he's conservative. And then we learn from Erica that her and her mother go to Israel on pilgrimage, or in Jerusalem, and they see Charlie at the airport. Like that was just a natural thing. And her mother says, well, you should go up to him and you should say something. And then Erica ultimately decides not to. And, I always thought that story was interesting because I was with Charlie at the airport, and I don't remember her mentioning that. She saw Charlie just, by himself at the airport? Anyway, yeah, that timeline is interesting to me. On August 10th, Erica is then, just saw him in May, but then she's going to see him again at Turning Point USA's office opening. She gets invited by Tyler. She doesn't know how she knows, but he introduces her very quickly to Charlie. I am there for the grand opening. I think I remember quickly meeting her at some point. And we don't really know why she's there, because remember, she's living in New York. I guess her family's there. You go back home, but don't you have a job? What is your job? What do you do for a living? And this is around the same time that Erica is communicating that she's doing deals, real estate deals with her family, to various people. Then comes September, where once again it is arranged by Tyler Boyer for Erica to meet Charlie, this time one-on-one for a job. And in retrospect, this really bothers me because that's not how job interviews happened at Turning Point USA. You were not taken to meet the CEO of the company at a restaurant in New York. That's just not how job interviews work at all, actually. Like, why would you do that? Like, okay? And they sit down and Erica says everything perfect and amazing and exactly the things that Charlie wants to hear. And there begins their relationship, you could say, right, in September, when they meet at that restaurant. Then comes October 24th, and Erica somehow becomes a licensed real estate agent in New York and is immediately employed by Corcoran Real Estate Group. And we went back, and people have reached out to us. Erica, it looks like, did a total of 3 possible rentals under somebody else. Like, she wasn't even the main realtor. I don't understand that. I don't understand how she's working for Corcoran Real Estate and doing real estate deals, and she does this on October 24th. I want to point to October 30th. When I told you that suddenly people were trying to pull me and Kanye and Charlie apart, you just felt it, okay? And out of nowhere, Kanye, who did actually help me design the Plexico in Chicago, he was getting an insane amount of pressure and told that he could not get involved in politics. He was putting on a MAGA hat. Things were going crazy. I think Kim was threatening divorce at some point, if I recall correctly. And Kanye cracks and he tweets a series of tweets. He writes, "I introduced Candace to the person who made the logo and they didn't want their name on it, so she used mine. I never wanted any association with Plexit. I have nothing to do with it." He then follows that up by saying, "My eyes are now wide open and now realize that I have been used to spread messages that I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative." And let me tell you, this was one of the hardest things for me to go through. I mean, I love Ye, love him now, but like, it was just, it was untrue, and it allowed people to then, I mean, every single article, Candace lied, and I actually have a photo of me and Kanye in the Trump Hotel in Chicago, and I didn't know what was happening, and I, at the time called a friend, and they were like, "You don't know what he's going through and what sort of pressure he's going through," and Charlie and me were just devastated. We were devastated by this because it made us look like we were liars, okay? And we were in a position where people wanted to see us fall, okay? Why am I telling you this? I get reached out, somebody reached out to me. I get reached out to by a young woman in New York. And she says to me that at this time, she said, "Oh, Erica knew Kanye." And I said, "Erica didn't know Kanye. What are you talking about? Erica never knew Kanye." She said, "No, Erica knew Kanye." And I said, "Oh, she wasn't even in the picture in April when Charlie and I were doing all the Kanye stuff. She's never been with him. There's no pictures. What are you referring to?" And I just assumed that this was like maybe something that Erica said, she lies all the time. Maybe she was just like, "Oh, now I date this guy, now whatever." And then she says, "No, I have like actual proof that when all that stuff was going down with you and Kanye and Charlie, that Erica was backdialing and telling people that she knew the people that were around Kanye, that she had family that was around Kanye, and pushed for that tweet to go out. Okay. So I said, can you get me some proof of that? And this young woman in New York got me the proof of that. Proof that, at the very least, Erica was making that claim. What I can tell you is that neither me, nor Charlie, nor Kanye knew that Erica knew someone on Kanye's team that, and now who knows if it's her real family or her Nicole Rothstein family, or she just calls everybody family. But you're telling me she's playing like she's some cute new girlfriend watching us go through this entire thing, being absolutely heartbroken, and yet she's like on the side telling people that she knows like why that went out. She knows why Kanye, like, his was forced. Let me tell you guys right now. Let me tell you something right now. I will find out who in Kanye's circle knew Erica when that tweet went out. I will find out. I will call Ye and I will find out. I will figure out how duplicitous this woman is. That she is playing the role of, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that this is happening to you, while telling people that she knows the other side of it. People that are pressuring Ye to do this. Okay. It took me a lot to process that. Like I said, would not put this out here unless I was 100% certain of it. I am at 100% certainty that that is what Erica told.
D on D says, meet at door, place towards the rod to your right.
So she,
Thank
in my
you.
book, Erica is a whole fraud. Just a whole fraud. And then to jump back into this timeline, look at this. We don't know what she's doing. Suddenly she gets her real estate license. And I'm just going to say that it's long been understood that real estate is a really easy way, a really easy means to move money. Okay. So she sits down with Charlie. Suddenly she gets her real estate license. Kanye's tweeting, peace out, Blexit. Erica then filmed Summer House. But look at December 31st, though. December 31st, the end of the year, Feed Me Incorporated is formed. Feed Me Incorporated will eventually become Superfeed Technologies. Superfeed Technologies is the company that both Erica's mother and Tyler Boyer are on the board of. Okay? So that's interesting. That company
Just
gets
place
formed.
on porch. Thanks.
As Erica starts dating Charlie, that company is formed, and these people know each other. These people all know each other. It's her one blind spot. She just can't. That's her one category she can't remember is how she knows Tyler Boyer, even though he is in business with her mother and has her behind Trump in 2015. It is my personal opinion that a deal was done. When I look at the evidence, when I look at everything I'm looking at, when I see how duplicitous she was, and I know that Charlie did not know these things because I was there. I was the closest person to Charlie while he was beginning to date Erica. Okay, no one spent more time with him or spoke to him more. He did not know these things about Erica Kirk or Erica Francevay, what's her name at the time. We had no idea that she was telling people that she knew the people that were in Kanye's orbit when he sent that tweet out. Something is not right. We all know something is not right, and I am just aghast at the people who are going to continue to pretend like all of this is perfectly normal. Anyway, we should take a brief pause before we continue. We'll be right back. All right, you guys, if you've been following me for a while, then you know how much.
So, what people don't realize is the Antichrist is coming. The Antichrist is coming. And could be Bibi Netanyahu. Could be Trump. Could be Emmanuel Macron. Could be a lot of people. But it's definitely about to happen. And even the evil people know it. They think it's the Christ. Because to them, the Antichrist is Christ. They don't think Jesus is going to do what he believe that the Antichrist is coming because they love him. They worship him. They worship more than the Christians. Because when they go to church, they go for like 12 hours. But people don't want to be, they don't want the Antichrist to come. Because they want to live. They go on marrying and being married. And then the bridegroom cometh. So, nobody wants that to happen. Because they want to live their lives. They like their lives. They want to make a good life here on earth. But we're only here to bring in everlasting righteousness. We're not here to enjoy ourselves. You can have joy. Count in all joy when various trials arise, because you know that the testing of your faith is necessary to produce patience. And let patience have her perfect work, lacking in no good thing.
That various data points being introduced, like, oh, Erica lied pathologically. There may have been this $1 billion motive to have Charlie Kirk killed, that Erica lied about the fact her husband texted multiple people the night before he said he feared he was going to be killed. And his overriding point is that these various points are not evidence, right? How a widow is behaving, whether she's grieving correctly, these things cannot be introduced in court. And yet yesterday, he tweeted this regarding a murder that took place in Utah. I was just very interested. He wrote, and this is regarding Corey Richins, a New York Post article that said, grief author Corey Richins found guilty of fatally poisoning her husband for his $4 million estate. And Matt Walsh comments and writes, there's no good moral reason why she should not simply be taken outside the morning after her conviction and hanged. This woman has lost her right to exist. Okay, that's strong words. So I was just stunned by it, because I have to assume he did exactly zero due diligence on this case, a case that I actually followed because it was completely nutty. Now, I'm assuming he was not aware that after Corey Richins murdered her husband, fentanyl overdose, she at first played the role of a grieving widow for an entire year. She was not arrested, suspected in her husband's death initially at all, because you know, she's crying. She called 911. In fact, she was so bold in her grieving widow stage that she wrote a book, a children's book regarding grieving. And she did a little local book tour where she actually repeats some of the things that we've heard Erica say, like, you know, the nights are the hardest. Take a listen to this ABC clip of Corey Richins, who had not yet been arrested, a year later, promoting her book.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me, Corey Richins, to share her 3 C's to helping kids cope with grief. And Corey, I want to start with your story. What happened in your personal life?
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And, you know, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year, and, you know, hoping that it can kind of help other kids, you know, deal with this and kind of, you know, find happiness some way or another.
So you actually wrote this book with your children.
I did.
And it's only been a year. How did you process and say go from processing death to I need to write a book and help others?
You know, I just watched the struggle that my kids were going through, and I actually, you know, I went on Amazon and Barnes & Noble and trying to find something that we could use to cope at nights. Nights are the hardest, it seems like, for everybody when, you know, dealing with anything. But
I just wanted some story to read to my kids at night. And I just could not find anything. I couldn't find anything that really, suited them or helped them find comfort and peace. And so, I was like, let's just write one. And so, I took things that my kids have said to me this last year and we kind of articulated it and put it into a story and, just have hopes that it will help other kids.
I mean,
Oh, that's so sweet.
tell you guys in short, this woman was not actually a grieving widow. She wasn't a grieving widow. That actually, one could argue that she may have even been a psychopath for doing this, being able to do this after she killed her husband. March 4th, 2002 was when her husband, Eric Richins, was murdered, and it took them